Tonight, Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers accused the Special Prosecutor of doing the bare minimum in his extradition approach 9 months after declaring the former Finance Minister a wanted man and a fugitive from justice, suggesting virtual proceedings due to his client's ill health.
The OSP has told Ghanaians that he is going to use all the force at his command to have Ken Ofori-Atta brought into the country. If Ken Ofori-Atta is not coming as you are alleged, the OSP should be in a position to bring him.
So with public pressure mounting, will the OSP finally take measures to secure Ken Ofori-Atta's extradition, or will the case continue to drag on? We'll hear from the Attorney General and his office as it points fingers at the OSP for frustrating the process to extradite the former Finance Minister. Details coming up here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting the energies, and also Shield Pension, Trust into the future with you. Now the clock is ticking. 9 months have passed since former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta was declared a fugitive of justice, and yet he remains in the United States, defying calls to return and face trial in Ghana. His lawyers are now questioning the Special Prosecutor's commitment to extraditing him, with the OSP facing criticism for not exploring all legal avenues to bring him to justice. Lawyer for Ken Ofori-Atta, Frank Davis, says his client is medically not fit to return to Ghana and expect the OSP to explore all available legal options at its disposal. Listen to him.
I have already said to you, and it's a notorious fact, that Ken Ofori-Atta has health challenges. Currently, he has gone through surgery and he is recuperating, something that is known to each and every other Ghanaian in this republic. It is no news. So Ken Ofori-Atta is well. The OSP went against all legally permissible means to have him interrogated or interviewed, and he was insisting that he wanted an in-person interview with Ken Ofori-Atta and that he will use all the legal force of the state to have him extradited to Ghana. And that is what we have all been waiting for.
And so it begs the question, really, if your client is faring better, as you've said, why doesn't he come into the country?
You want me to answer this question for you? Why there are no other legally permissible means by which he can be interviewed? Is it only by coming to the country? And why are you asking not the reverse? Why are you not asking the reverse? The OSP has told all of us that he is going to bring him here.
And he's actually trying to. He has issued an Interpol red notice.
You have asked me a question. Can I answer, please?
Please answer.
Yes. If Ken Ofori-Atta by himself is not coming, there's a reason why he is not coming. Because his health is still challenged.
But you just told me he's doing better.
What? But if somebody is recuperating, it means he can just leave America and come here. If somebody is recuperating from surgery, by your analogy, because he's recuperated, he should just throw himself back into Ghana. I don't think it works that way. In any event, the OSP has told Ghanaians that he is going to use all the force at his command to have Ken Ofori-Atta brought into the country. If Ken Ofori-Atta is not coming as you are alleged, the OSP should be in a position to bring him.
Well, that was Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyer. But in recent times, there's been the issue or debate about which agency has the right to extradite Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana. We're hearing from Deputy Attorney General Sammy, who says several requests to the OSP to avail the docket on the case to initiate the extradition request has proved futile.
I think the one that is popular is the one that the OSP is conducting. And also, that is the one that we are made to believe is in an advanced stage where extradition will be required. And indeed, the OSP has already put the person on Interpol red alert. What it means is that it's a notice to the whole world that this person is a wanted man. But the Interpol alert is not an extradition, procedure. So if we really want the person to come, we need to make an extradition request to where we believe he is, which is the US. Now, this is what's, and listen to me carefully on this. We are the only authority, that's the Attorney General Office, we are the only authority that can make extradition. But we need a docket from, an investigative docket from the OSP to be able to make these extradition requests. As of today, we still do not have a docket from the OSP. We have made several requests to the OSP, written letters, written demands to the OSP, asking that now that you've announced to the world that you are ready to have this person extradited, and there have been communication to that effect that even we've seen communication to the effect that the docket is ready and it's only the Attorney General that can make the. So we have been asking for the docket for a couple of, I think about 2 months now. We still do not have the dockets from the OSP. And so without the dockets, you cannot go to the American authorities and say, this is the person we want to know. You need to show, because when they are asking for people to be extradited to the United States, they bring the full dockets of, as if they are going to court. And then we take that docket to court for the court to see whether there's really merit for, bringing the person down. We have to do the same thing. We also have to take a full docket of all the evidence and what we believe the law, and then we take it to the United States authorities, and they will process the extradition and bring it.
Our private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu has suggested that the OSP should initiate a trial in absentia against Ken Ofori-Atta if the former finance minister is refusing to return to Ghana.
That's how come for me. I said, this is his country. He has some properties here. So let's start. If we start and he doesn't come, then the trial will go on without him. That's how come we say that let's do the processes, take the offer. Have you gone to Ofori-Atta to take a statement in America? And he says no. No, he says you do it. So let's do it. Then we can start the trial here. Article 19, Clause 3. Let me read it. People have been misleading others. In our Constitution, there is no requirement that Ofori-Atta should come to court day one and then travel and not come back before you can continue. No. Article 19, Clause 3 just simply says that if you know there is a case, a criminal case against you, and you don't come, we can go and leave you. That's the trial can go on in your absence. Yeah, Article 19, Clause 3A. Trial of a person charged with a criminal offense shall take place in his presence unless A, he refuses to appear before the court for the trial to be conducted in his presence after he has been duly notified. So the thing is notification. So if you take Ofori-Atta's statements in the U.S., then afterwards you send him notice through the same channels that we are starting the trial, and he says he will not come, then the judge will go on. So we cannot go into battle with that plan A. Nobody goes to battle like that. Then it means you are not even prepared for battle. Ask the military generals. Nobody goes to war with just one plan. A general who goes to war with one plan is not prepared for the war.
All right, this is Top Story brought to you by Telecel and Shield Pension Trust. Into the future with you. Now, let me bring in Sammy, Darko, who works at the Office of the Special Prosecutor to help us understand what's happening. Sammy, I'm grateful to you, really, for having the time to join us on Top Story tonight. Now, where are you in the extradition process?
So, as you are aware, first of all, let me state that there is no
Sammy, are you there?
The Attorney General's office. Indeed, as
Mr. Darko, we lost you a little, so if you can start for me.
Indeed, as the Deputy Attorney General said, in Ghana's architecture, the Attorney General is the designated central authority for extradition. Just as Ministry of Foreign Affairs is also designated as a central authority for some of those matters. So the OSP is not a designated central authority, so it must necessarily cooperate with the Attorney General's office. And that is precisely why the OSP had to write to the government, and then the government had to transmit our request that we wanted Mr. Ofori-Atta extradited to the Attorney General. Now, I will give some chronology because of the statement that was made by the Deputy Attorney General to clarify a few things. The OSP is officially releasing a statement, if not for this interview to have been out. So on the 2nd of June, the OSP wrote to the presidency through the chief of staff, because extradition is first of all a political decision. You need to be aware that the country is willing and able to help with the extradition. Then on the 3rd, and I'm doing this because documents, we've seen extradition documents floating all over on social media, and that is in itself is a big problem. I'll come to that. But on the 2nd, we wrote to the government. Then on the chief of staff on the 3rd forwarded our request for extradition to the Attorney General. As I've said, it is going to the Attorney General precisely because the Attorney General's office has been designated as central authority. And then the Attorney General's office wrote to us on the 13th of June. And when they wrote to us, they specifically asked us for our officers who will be going to the United States to do the extradition, plus a docket, whatever you call it. Later I'll address this issue about docket that has become an issue, but there is no issue about a docket. Then on the 20th, the OSP responded to the Attorney General's letter and provided the names of its officers who will be going to join the AG in the extradition process. And then in respect of the docket, the OSP did indicate that it did a search at the premises of SML. And for those who may not be aware of why the OSP is investigating Ken Ofori-Atta, OSP is investigating him for specific cases, about 5 cases that fall within the limited jurisdiction of the office in terms of corruption and corruption related, which means that any other agency that falls under the Attorney General, be it Yoku, NIB, police, they can also do cases on Kenneth Ofori-Atta. So it's not as if that what the OSP is doing blocks any other agency. The OSP is only doing work that is within its mandate. So then the OSP said that because it did a search at SML, it has uncovered new information through the seizure of servers, documents, and computers and all that needed analysis and decoding. But this does not mean that we are not already provided in other information. And it will be very important for many people to know this extradition request. What is it that the US government will want? There's a list of a bucket list of what they want. And if you go to the Department of Justice,
sorry, but I want us to. I mean, you stated the response you sent to the Attorney General on 20th June, but I mean, has there ever been a docket presented to the Attorney General upon which he can initiate the extradition processes?
If you don't understand it, you are going to make the same mistake and you're going to ask. And I told you that it's not an issue about dockets, it's an issue about information that Attorney General requires to fill the extradition form. And then I'm expecting media personnel, including yourself, to read a bit about what is required.
So are you saying the Deputy Attorney General who gave us this information is also not aware of what you're saying?
The thing that is required is an arrest warrant. Has the OSP procured an arrest warrant for Mr. Ofori-Atta? Yes, the OSP has done that. Another thing that is required is Interpol Red Notice. Has the OSP procured the Interpol Red Notice? Yes. The other things that are required is the political character question, which means that Ghana must justify that this is not a political witch hunt. That justification will come obviously from the Attorney General. Then the other things are the offenses that you have charged the person with. And those offenses, when we went for the arrest warrant, there was one there, but we are saying that we are completing cases that we will take to court to prosecute. And these cases are not just cases of only Mr. Ofori-Atta. There are several other suspects involved in the case. So we had said that, so on the 20th, when we responded to the AG, we said that because we have uncovered this volume of documents that need an analysis, we will want to complete it. And when we complete it, we will forward to you the investigative report, which you...
Well, Mr. Darko, but the response you're talking about that I have does not contain the explanation you are giving us, because what you say in that letter is that, quote, I refer to your letter dated 13 January 2025 in reference to my letter to the Chief of Staff dated 2nd June 2025 and the Chief of Staff reference to the Attorney General for extradition processes to be instituted for the provisional apprehension in any jurisdiction in which he may be located or found, and extradition to the Republic of Ghana of Kenneth Ofori-Atta, who served as a minister responsible for finance of the Republic between 2017 and 2024. That's what it's here. And then he says the OSP nominated the following officers to join the team of prosecutors to examine and process the extradition request. And then those names are mentioned. So, unless, of course, you are telling me I don't have the full complement of that letter.
No, you don't.
What? You don't. But it's okay. That's why I'm saying that whoever leaked this document, I think has done a big disservice to the country. And I think that even you don't have the full complement of the correspondence, because there is another letter the Attorney General wrote to our office in September, in which the Attorney General now said that time is of the essence, so he no longer would want a docket, but if we even have the incomplete investigative report, we should send to the Attorney General. And that's why I'm telling you that we have said that we just needed a few more time to wrap up on this new evidence that will go ahead to also solidify the evidence that we already have. That's why I've told you now that there is no confusion, there is no clash. OSP has not delayed, neither has OSP refused to share investigative information with the Attorney General. In fact, it is the OSP that has started this case right from day one, when many people did not even believe and said the OSP was insensitive and inconsiderate. The OSP had maintained at all material time, we know where he is. And that is why we have said that it is important that we bring him back for processes to continue. It doesn't mean that the fact that we are saying that we need to finalize our documentation doesn't mean that we have delayed. And if you take a look at it, the Deputy Attorney General has said 2 months, and I respectfully, they are inaccurate by the date I've given to you. The only times was from the 20th and then of June, and the next time was September. That's about it. And there's been a lot of cordial phone exchange. In fact, when we gave them the names of our officers, the Attorney General's office was also supposed to bring his name for a certain committee to be formed and all that. Those processes have not even happened. But here is a case where, of course, OSP is not the one that leaked these documents. As I've said, how on earth would we leak a document that could jeopardize the lives of our officers?
Okay, so once we're doing public education and you are educating us, we appreciate it. Just clarify this for me and then we can move on. The fact that without the docket, as the Deputy AG said, still the extradition process could have been initiated.
It's not an issue about docket. You keep referring to a docket, and I've told you that.
Because I just want all of us to be on the same page. All Ghanaians listening now to be on the same page, yeah.
Further information being added to what we already have, and that we have said that we are completing it because of the volume of evidence that we have chanced upon it, and so we needed to finish, and that will be done. And so there's no confusion at all. And I do know that the Special Prosecutor will do this, and sometime within this week, he is properly going to brief Ghanaians about it, that there is no delay. Let me tell you something. Often people don't know what they've done, right? And you wouldn't know why somebody want to put even an incomplete extradition correspondence. But I get the sense that somebody either wanted to thwart this effort or put the lives of our officers at risk. And the second one is that there's a question that Ghana needs to answer, which is the political character question. Anything you put in a public domain that creates an impression of political interference or tangle and all that plays to the advantage of the person you want to extradite, because these processes will go back to a U.S. court. And so the worry is not so much about whether there's a delay or not. Yes, there is pressure. We all understand Ghanaians are more interested in this matter, but we also understand that there ought to be due process, and we have to take our time to cross the dot and I's. That doesn't mean that we don't have anything. We have, but you need to make it better. And so that's all we sought to do. And this week, correspondence would have gone. So it starts to beg. And you see, the problem also is this. Sometimes the OSP is quiet, doing work so that it can present and make things up. And people will say that the OSP is not talking and is creating confusion or that. When the OSP talks, they say the OSP talks too much. Why are you talking? Meanwhile, the very act establishing the office says that we must carry Ghanaians along at every stage. So just as I'm explaining to you, these are the things we have been doing. Even Joy FM, you interviewed the wife of Ken Ofori-Atta, who promised that the man was going to return in 3 months. He has not returned.
Well, the lawyer is telling us that the client, the health of the client is not too good, and that's why we haven't seen him. So, of course, I mean, someone can promise, but you cannot determine when the person will be right or well, even though they can give you some assurances. Not so.
Sorry, I didn't get your question because
I'm saying that it is about health. So if someone promises that I'll be with you tomorrow and something happens, I mean, you cannot guarantee when and exactly when you'll be right. So maybe that is the real issue.
But that's why we told you, and I remember you've interviewed us before. We told you that these excuses do not wash, especially if you have not been declared as invalid, unable to travel, unable to go anywhere, and that would have been valid.
So we have the assurances from you that this week, that document or the OSP will transmit the required information to the AG, and can we be guaranteed that this will actually happen, or it's also another indefinite assurance like the ones that we've heard earlier?
Say that again.
I am saying that you've just given us assurances that OSP will transmit the required information to the AG this week. Is that a guarantee that we cannot bank our hopes on that? In fact,
no, I didn't. I said that the SP will make a press conference this week, but certainly the OSP is going to transmit the required information to the Attorney General soon. And when I say soon, I will leave that when the SP addresses the nation on what, because you see, we have completed the investigation. We are just boarding it up with a few other information that we've had. And also remember that I said that we are going to be filing charges against a number of people, including Ken Ofori-Atta. So it's not just one person matter that people think that it's just one person. It involves other persons that we ought to also complete. So,
well, Mr. Darko, I'll let you move on, but aren't you the one who wrote this on your social media? Quote, I am aware that the Special Prosecutor is expected to complete and transmit the necessary information to the AG this week to facilitate the extradition process.
Yes, I'm the one that wrote it, and I'm saying that will happen. Except that I wanted to say that I will also leave the SP to finally firm it up. But I do know that correspondence is going to go to the Attorney General because I'm aware that he's preparing to do so, and that is why I had to put it out there.
Which means that there's a guarantee, and then this one will not be like those indefinite assurances we had in the past, right?
OSP has never given you any assurance. In fact, what has happened on the contrary is that many of you had doubted the OSP. When it started, you said it won't go anywhere. The OSP was able to do it. Even when we declared him wanted and said we're going to place him on Interpol Red Notice, many of you doubted it, especially in the media. And then within 1 week, he was placed on Interpol Red Notice. And the same thing has happened again when we have said that we are making a request for an extradition, and the same doubt. So from the chronology, what you are saying is not borne out by any facts.
Okay. So, I mean, there's been suggestions that the man can be tried in absentia. Is the SP considering that?
This is an old argument that I've said that many other lawyers have interpretations of how things should go, and then they talk about, say, one plan. It's not about one plan or not. When you spoke to the Deputy Attorney General, you think that if the states, including the Attorney General, thought that that would be done, why would we bother ourselves on an extradition? That's why I've said that, yes, those who are outside, especially those who have not been at the other side of, say, prosecuting and arrest, are able to say that the Constitution is clear and all that. But let me ask you, have you ever heard in any country where a person has been tried in absentia, where the person has not appeared? Do you know why even the International Court of Justice, although they know where the suspected criminals are?
But Ghana did one recently with the former director of one of the state agencies. I've forgotten, but she's a lady.
Had
She
to
was
come
tried in
to
absentia.
Ghana to get people to go back to stand trial. The point I'm making is that anywhere in the world, trial in absentia happens when the person absconds after either they have appeared before the court or their statement and other things were taken. And the point we have made in Ghana that whether you go by way of a summons to a judge or you go by way of what we are doing, the court will still require service on the person, and the court will still require the attendance of the person.
Okay, Mr. Sammy Darko, I'm grateful to you. Let me bring in Professor Kwadwo Appiagyei-Atua. He's Professor of International Law, UG. Prof, I'm grateful to you. I'm sure you follow the argument that the SP's office is putting up. What do you make of it? You understand law better than I do.
Come again, please.
I am asking that I haven't listened to the argument the Special Prosecutor's office is putting up. What do you make of all of this?
Well, it's interesting. There's a lot that is happening between the Attorney General's office and the Special Prosecutor's office that we may not know. So it's difficult to judge one way or the other. Having said that, listening to the OSP's officer, I think he's making a clear case that is the norm, or that is the processes for extradition. The political character that he mentioned is true. The crime that the persons are alleged to have been committed should not be a political crime. Apart from that, at the end of the day, even though there's a treaty between U.S. and Ghana, U.S. has to agree that it wants this person brought to Ghana. In this case, we have Interpol involved as well. The Interpol alert, the red alert that was issued, indicates that Interpol has been involved in this. But it doesn't constitute extradition, and it's not an arrest warrant. That is where I also agree with the Attorney General's position. So at the end of the day, the power is in the hands of the Attorney General to actually initiate the process. But the case has to go to a court. It's like a court process in the U.S., where it has to go to a court for the court to make a determination that, indeed, all the requirements for extradition have been met. For example, has a person been tried in Ghana before and sentenced? Because the court want to avoid what we call double jeopardy, where you cannot be tried twice or sentenced twice for the same offense, and other factors. So when the court process in the U.S. has been completed, even that person that you want to extradite can apply for what they call habeas corpus to appear before the court, for the court to examine if the person indeed has to make a case against the extradition. So all those processes have to be completed. If you don't have a complete docket, you are going to make a fuss of the matter, and the extradition process will fail. So these are why it is important for the OSP to build a complete docket and give to the Attorney General to be able to make a successful extradition application from the U.S. And that's what we are hoping that it will go through, so that when it goes, it will not fail, and the extradition will be confirmed for Mr. Ofori-Atta to be brought to Ghana for trial. So
you agree that without the docket the Attorney General is talking about, he still can be extradited with the information they've provided?
No, it will not be possible. It's likely to fail.
Okay, Prof, because that's the argument of the OSP, that with the information they provided, the extradition can happen even without the docket that the Deputy Attorney General is talking about.
I'm not sure it will be successful, because, like I said, it is going to be a court process.
Okay.
So after the political character issue has been resolved, then Ghana will send it. And then when it goes to the U.S. as well, the political character on the part of the U.S. will also have to be satisfied. Then the court process will also have to be satisfied.
Okay.
So both the legal and political processes will have to be completed and accepted on the part of both sides before the extradition can take place.
All right. I'm grateful to you, Prof. Kwadwo Appiagyei-Atua, for helping us out on Top Story. This is how we conclude. You earlier heard Sammy, Darko, who is Director of Strategy, Research and Communication Division at the OSP. The Top Story is always brought to you by Telesat Connect Energies and also by Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. My name is Samuel Brace. Up next is Newsnight.